Yes, good morning, all of you, and welcome back to the online class of microprocessors and microcontrollers. In this session, we will discuss the DMA controller and continue from where we stopped in the last class. Okay. So in the previous class, most of you were not present. Only 30 students were present in the last class. Okay. So what we did in the last class was we introduced the concept of DMA. That means first DMA means what? Direct memory access. That means how we can transfer data from memory or to memory. Okay, we can transfer from memory or we can transfer to memory from any other external device directly. Okay, so this process is nothing but direct memory, right? The process of data transfer from or to memory from any external device without the interference of CPU is nothing but direct memory access. Okay, this entire process is nothing but direct memory access. Okay, so to perform this particular process, we have a controller called DMA controller or 8257 controller. I told you the numbers, the chip numbers are very important. Okay, so in order to perform this DMA operation, we need a controller called DMA controller or 8257 controller. Okay, so this was what we discussed in the last class. Okay, so in today's class, we'll understand the internal architecture of 8257, that is DMA controller. Okay, so before going to the internal architecture of DMA, we'll just see how to initiate. Okay, in the last class, what did I tell you? We need to initiate the DMA controller. We need to initiate the DMA controller by sending the request, from the external devices. So now we will see how to initiate. What are different signals that we need to initiate this signal? What you can say, initiate this DMA controller. Okay. If you can see, this 8257 DMA controller is manufactured by Intel. Okay, and it is a 4-channel DMA controller. Okay, that we'll understand in the architecture. What are those 4 channels? How do they work? Okay, designed to be interfaced with their family of microprocessors. This Intel 8257 DMA controller is actually designed to interface with Intel's processors itself. Okay, so Intel will be manufacturing several microprocessors. Okay, so in order to interface to the Intel microprocessors, Intel manufactured this 8257 or DMA controller. Okay, so this 8257 on behalf of the device, okay, on behalf of the device, requires the CPU for bus access using local bus request, that is input, that is HLD in the minimum mode, and in the maximum mode request or grant pin. Okay, so these two are very important. Okay, this is what I am talking about. Okay, so this is one signal and this is another signal. Okay, so if you could remember the pin diagram of 8086, so that will have different pins in the maximum mode and in the minimum mode. Okay. So in the minimum mode, you will have different pins, and in the maximum mode, you will have different pins. Okay. So now, what did I tell you? When you have a device like this, okay, when you have a device like this and you want to transfer, okay, and you want to transfer data, and you want to transfer data to the microprocessor through this device using the DMA controller, what we have to do? We have to first send a request to the DMA controller. We have to send a request to the DMA controller that to take the access of all the buses of microprocessors. Okay, so the device has to uh, send request to the DMA controller. So how do we send the request? How do we send the request? What are the signals? Okay, what are the signals that we have? Okay, the signals are, first one is hold signal in the minimum mode, and this RQ bar, GT bar. This means what? Request or grant. Request or grant. Okay. So in the maximum mode. Okay. These are the two signals that are used to initiate the DMA controller. Okay. When you are sending signal through these two pins means what? You are accessing the DMA controller. Okay. Once we are sending request, using these two signals to the microprocessor, then it will send a acknowledgement signal. It will send an acknowledgement signal, HLDA, in the minimum mode, and in the maximum mode, it will send grant signal. It will send grant signal. The request is sent using request signal, and the grant is sent, that means the acknowledgement is sent using grant signal in the maximum mode. Okay, from CPU. Okay, so the requesting device gets the access of bus and it completes the required number of DMA cycles for the data transfer, and then what it do? It hands over the control of bus back to the CPU. This is what exactly what DMA process means. Okay, I'll clarify this more. Okay, so through diagram I'll clarify. Okay, yesterday I did this, but so many were not present in the class. Again I'll try to clarify this. Please try to be patient. This is your microprocessor. Okay, so this is your microprocessor, right? 8086 microprocessor. So, and in between you will have a DMA controller. You will have a DMA this is DMA controller, and let this be your device from which you want to transfer data. This is device D. Suppose that when you want to transfer some data from this particular device D to the microprocessor, okay, to the microprocessor, then what actually we do in the DMA process is we actually send some request to the microprocessor that I need to send some data. So that request is sent to through hold and these pins in the minimum and maximum mode respectively. Okay, so the first step is what? We will send a request. We will send a request through hold and RQ bar, GT bar in the maximum mode and minimum mode respectively. Okay. Once we are sending this request to the microprocessor, then microprocessor will acknowledge that, okay, you can send data. Okay, you can send data. Okay. So that will be acknowledged by these two signals, HLDA signal in the minimum mode and RQ bar, GT bar in the maximum mode. Once these are acknowledged, once these two signals are sent by the microprocessor, then the bus system, the address bus, data bus, and control bus of microprocessor, all the buses will be controlled by this, DMA controller. Okay, so will be controlled by DMA controller. So microprocessor will not have any access to the bus system. Only DMA controller will control the bus system, and the entire data from this device D will be transferred through DMA, okay, through DMA, which has control on this data bus. So, and this data bus is directly connected to the memory here. Okay, through this bus system, you will directly transfer to the memory of microprocessor. So, without the interference of microprocessor. Okay, so the microprocessor has nothing to do with the data transfer. It actually receives a request from the device and sends the acknowledgement. These are the two operations that will be performed by the microprocessor, and nothing else will be done for data transfer. Only DMA controller will take care of all the data transfer. Okay, hope the thing is clear to you. So this is for those people who are not present in the S-base class. Okay, right. So now we'll come back to our today's topic, that is internal architecture of 8257. This is very important. First, let me show the diagram of the internal architecture. Yes, this is your diagram, block diagram. Yes. See, this is your block diagram. You can see the complete architecture of 8257. Okay. See, we will discuss each and every block in detail. Before that, let me explain what are all the blocks that are present here. Okay. So first you can see here, this is the block which is used to communicate with the CPU, data bus buffer, in which you are going to transfer the data. Okay, so you all know all the interfacing devices will be having this data bus buffer. This is used to transfer data to and fro from this 8257. Okay, so this block is used to transfer the data, as you know, and this is the block. This is the block that is used to perform read and write operations, read write control logic. As you can see here, you have different control signals here. So this is IO read, IO write, and this is the clock pulse, reset pulse, and these are used to select the what you can say different operations. Okay, so read, write, control logic, and this is control and mode set logic, and this is the heart of 8257. Okay, so this particular block is the heart of 8257 because all the important control operations, you can see here, ready and hold request, hold acknowledgement, memory write, memory read, address enable, address strobe. Okay, so these are all the control signals that control the operation of DMA controller. Okay, so that is why this is the heart of 8257. Okay, so by controlling all these signals, we can control, or by changing the by varying the signals of this particular block, we can change the operations of the DMA controller. Okay, so this is the important block. Okay, so we'll study about all these signals individually later in our discussion. All right, so and this is also one of the important signals here. TC means terminal count, and mark is also one of the important signals. We'll study individually what these signals mean. Okay, and coming to the right side part, you have 4 channels here: CH0, CH1, CH2, and CH3. Okay, so these are the 4 channels, okay, through which we transfer the data. Okay, these are the 4 channels through which we transfer the data. Okay, so I told you, from a device we can directly write to the memory of the microprocessor. So those devices will be connected to these channels. Okay, and these channels individually will have 2 resistors. These channels will individually have 2 resistors. Okay, 2 resistors of 16-bit size. Okay, 2 resistors of 16-bit size. Okay, 2 resistors of 16-bit size. That means channel 0 will have 2 resistors, and channel 2 will have, channel 1 will have 2 resistors, and channel 2 will have 2 resistors, and channel 3 also will have 2 resistors. Okay, so that means how many resistors we have? In total 8 resistors we have. Okay, so we'll see what are those resistors. Okay, and for all these channels combinedly, we'll have another 2 resistors. Okay, so which will be controlling all these channels. Okay, so hope you are understanding this. We have 4 channels here to transfer data to and fro from this particular device. Okay, and each channel will be having 2 resistors of size 16-bit. Okay, that means we have 4 channels, and each channel will be having 2 resistors. So 4 into 2, 8. And overall, okay, for overall control for all the 4 channels combinedly, we have another 2 resistors. So in total, 4 into 2, 8 plus 2. So that means we'll have 10 resistors. We'll have what? 10 resistors of 16-bit size. Okay, so these are used for different purposes. Okay, I'll let you know. Okay, I'll let you know in a short period of time. And this is the priority resolver. Okay, so this is very important here. Why do we require this priority resolver? Suppose from channel 0 we have a data transfer, and from channel 1 we have a data transfer, and from channel 2 we have a data transfer. Suppose that we have 3 devices for data transfer. Okay, suppose that if you have 3 devices for data transfer, then out of 3 devices, which one to choose? Which device has to transfer data first? That is the question, right? Okay, so among the 3 devices, among these 3 channels, the priority resolver will be choosing one channel. Okay, the priority resolver will be choosing one channel which is of highest priority, and then that particular channel will be transferring the data. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, so that is the use of a priority resolver here. Okay, so it actually chooses the highest priority among all the channels when all the channels are having a data transfer request. Okay, so this is about the architecture, some introduction of this block diagram. Okay, let us now see in detail the different blocks, the different signals, and different what you can say registers that we have. Okay. See, internal architecture of 8257. Okay. So now, just now we saw the block diagram. Okay. So the chip supports how many channels? 4 DMA channels. 4 DMA channels. Channel 0 to channel 3. Okay. So 4 peripheral devices can, okay. So that, what is the meaning here? 4 peripheral devices can independently request for DMA data transfer through these channels at a single time. That is the meaning of having 4 channels. Okay. Okay. Just now I told you now. So you'll have 4 different channels and 4 different peripheral devices like keyboard, mouse, or you can say monitor or any other peripheral device. Okay. So we can simultaneously send a request. We can simultaneously send requests with 4 peripheral devices. Okay. And out of that, the priority resolver chooses one, and one will be connected for data transfer. Okay. So one at a time will be processed, not 4 at a time. Okay. All 4 will not be processed at a time, but the data transfer will be done one by one. Okay. So the DMA controller has 8-bit internal data bus buffer. Okay. So this is the data bus buffer D0 to D7, which is used for either read data or write data into the processor or into the 8257. A read write control unit. Okay. And a control unit, a priority resolving unit, along with a set of registers. This is what we saw in the block diagram also. Okay. So now we'll understand what are different registers that are present here. Okay. So what did I tell you now? Each channel will have 2 registers individually, and all the 4 channels will have 2 registers for combined operation. So in total, we have 10 registers. In total, we have how many registers? 10 registers. Now, let us look into those 10 registers. Okay, 10 registers. What are those registers and what is the purpose of those registers here? Okay, a register organization of 8257. See, this 8257 performs the DMA operation over 4 independent DMA channels. Okay, so we have 4 different independent channels. So each of the 4 channels of 8257 has a pair of 2 16-bit registers. That means each and every channel, that is channel 0 will have 2 16-bit registers. Channel 1 will have 2 16-bit registers. Channel 2 will have 2 16-bit registers. Likewise, all the channels of 8257 will have 2 16-bit registers. The names of those 2 16-bit registers are address register and terminal count register. Terminal count register. Okay. So the names of 2 16-bit registers is what? One is address register and the second one is what? Terminal count registers. That means how many address registers we'll have? We have 4 channels, so we'll have 4 address registers. Okay, because each channel contains 1 address register. And similarly, how many terminal count registers we'll have? We have 4 channels. That is why we'll have 4 terminal count registers, because each channel will have 1 terminal count register. So 4 address registers and 4 terminal count registers. In total, we have 8 16-bit registers. And apart from this 8 16-bit registers, we have 2 common registers. 2 common registers for all channels. For all channels, namely mode set register, and status register. Mode set register and status register. Okay. So now the count is satisfied. Okay. So we have 4 address registers, we have 4 terminal count registers, and 1 mode set register, and 1 status register. In total, we have 10 registers, which are of 16-bit size. Okay. So thus there are 10 registers, and the CPU selects one of these 10 registers using the address lines A0 to A3. This is very much important here. Okay. So in the block diagram, we saw the signals starting from A0 to some A8, A7. Okay. So these address lines A0 to A3, A0 to A3, the 4 bits we have now, the 4 lines. Okay. So based on the 4 lines, we'll select one of the registers. That means, you see, I'll just show you how to select. So A0 we have. So most of you can remember the BCD. Okay, BCD numbers means binary coded decimals. So BCD values will have from 0 to 9. 0 to 9. That means we have 10 values. Okay. So in order to select those 10, we require 4 bits, right? We require 4 bits. Similarly, we have 10 registers now. In order to select one register, we need 4 bits. Okay, we need 4 bits, right? So that is the importance here. So from A0 to A3. A1, A2, and A3. So the values, suppose let us say 0, 1, 1, and 0. What is the value here? This is 6. Okay, the value is what? 6. Okay, so based on this value, one of the register will be selected. Okay, so we have a table here. Down the line, we have a table here. That table indicates how A0 to A3 bits may be used for selecting one of the registers. Okay, so this is what the register organization of 8257. Okay, so let us now see the purpose. Okay, the purpose and functioning of these registers that we discussed. Okay, first, what is the purpose of address register? What is the purpose of address register? What did I tell you? We have 4 channels, and each and every channel will have an individual address register. What is the purpose of address register? The function of this address register is to store, this is the important point, note down, to store the address of the starting memory location, which will be accessed by the DMA channel, Okay. Okay. So what is the purpose of this DMA controller? It actually writes directly into the memory of microprocessor, and the memory of microprocessor will contain 1 MB memory locations, right? That is the noun factor. Okay, 1 MB memory location. So out of this 1 MB memory location, where we are actually storing the data, or from where we are actually accessing the data, that has to be known. Okay, we have total 1 MB memory locations, and from which location we are taking the data, or to which location we are storing the data, that has to be known. Okay, and this particular address register holds the starting address of that particular location, in the memory of the microprocessor. where we have to actually write or where we have to actually read. Okay, so that particular memory location will be stored. That particular address of the memory location will be stored in the address register. That is the purpose of address register here. Okay, so thus the starting address of the memory block, the starting address of the memory block, the starting address of the memory block, which will be accessed by the device, is first loaded in the DMA address register of the channel. Okay, that is the purpose of address register. Okay, so it actually holds the starting of the memory location where we have to actually write or read. Okay, we can actually read or write the data from the memory or to the memory. Okay, so naturally the device that wants to transfer data over a DMA channel will access the block of memory with the starting address stored in the DMA address register. Okay, that was what we are telling about, right? So we just specify the starting address. Okay, the size of the data that we want to transfer will decide the ending address. Suppose if you want to transfer some what you can say 120 bytes of data, and each of the memory location can store 16 bits of data in the 8086. That is known. Okay, each of the memory location can hold a data of 16 bits. Okay, so in that manner, so when we know the starting address of that particular data storage, okay, so from there each of the memory location can hold 16 bits, and from there it calculates, and that decides your ending address. There is no need to choose or provide the ending address. Okay, so we just need to provide the starting address to the DMA controller. That's it, right? So that is about address register. Hope the purpose of address register is clear to you. Next, terminal count register. This is very much important. Terminal count register. Okay. So this is also same. This is also a 16-bit register, which will be contained by each and every channel of DMA controller, and this is used to store actually the data transfer. Okay, that the data transfer through a DMA channel stops after required number of DMA cycles. This is actually a count register. This is actually a count register. What did I tell you? Okay, in order to understand this, you have to go back to the DMA process. You have to go back to the DMA process. What did I tell you? Generally, the microprocessors. Okay, sorry, the microprocessor bus system. Okay, the bus system of what you can say, the bus system of microprocessor. Okay, the bus system of microprocessor is actually in the control of what? DMA. Is in the control of DMA for the data transfer. For data transfer. Okay, that means when you request for data transfer, then CPU hands over the bus system to DMA and proceeds the data transfer. For how much time? For how much time the CPU has to release its bus system? That is the question. Okay, so for throughout the life of microprocessor, it cannot give access to the DMA. Okay, so the CPU will also have specific functions that has to be performed using the bus system. Okay, so for how much time we have to hand over the bus system to the DMA controller? Okay, so that is decided, or that is loaded in the terminal count register. Okay, so it actually, okay, it actually decides. Okay, it actually decides. Ascertaining means what? It actually decides that the data transfer through DMA channel, that the data transfer through DMA channel, that means the bus system of the CPU using DMA controller stop after required number of DMA cycles. Okay. So this particular register holds the number of cycles. Okay, holds the number of cycles for which the data transfer has to stop. After which the data transfer has to stop. Thus, this register should be appropriately written before the actual DMA operation starts. Before the actual DMA operation starts. Suppose, let us say, this is the terminal count register here. This is the terminal count register. Okay. So this, if this terminal count register is written with 15, let us say, I am writing with general number, but it will be written in the binary. Okay. So if this terminal count register is written 15 means what? It indicates that the data transfer from the device to the memory of CPU through the DMA channel will be done for 15 clock cycles or 15 timing cycles. Okay, after 15 timing cycles, the DMA operation will be stopped. The DMA operation will be stopped, and this DMA control will not have any authority on the bus system. That means what? The bus system will be under the control of microprocessor. Okay, so that is the meaning here. Okay, so this terminal count register specifies the number of DMA cycles required for the data transfer from device to the memory location. Okay, so that is why this has to be what you can say properly written. Okay, you have to understand how many cycles are required for the complete transfer, and this has to be loaded with that particular data. Okay, so the lower order 14 bits, actually it is of 16-bit size. Na? It is of 16-bit size. The lower 14 bits, okay, the lower 14 bits, that means 0 to, what you can say, 0 to 13. Okay, so lower 14 means what? 0 to 13 of terminal counter register are initialized with a binary equivalent number of required DMA cycles minus 1. Suppose that if you are requiring 15 or 150 cycles, okay, let us say 150 cycles of data, then this 150 cycles of data minus 1 means how many? 149. Okay. So generally 149. So this 149 is represented in the binary format using these 14 bits. Using these 14 bits, 0 to 13 bits we have now. So these 14 bits represents this 140. Represents this 149. Okay. After each DMA cycle, what happens? This count decreases. Suppose one DMA cycle is over, then what it happens? The terminal count register will now turn to 148. Okay, and another one is over. It turns to 147. 147. Okay. So after completion of each and every DMA cycle, the terminal count register value will get decreased by 1, and finally it gets to 0. Finally, it becomes what? 0. Okay. That indicates what? The DMA operation has finished. Okay. So we have 2 more bits now. We just took 14. We just took 14 bits. We have 2 more bits. The bits 14 and 15 of the register indicate the type of DMA operation. Indicate the type of DMA operation. Okay. So how many types of DMA operation we have? Suppose that we can write into the memory. Okay, we can write into the memory. Okay, we can write or we can read data from the memory. We can read data from the memory, or we can write to the input device, or okay, so input device and output device. So we have different, these are all the different DMA operations that can be performed. So which type of DMA operation is being performed? Which type of DMA operation is performed is indicated by the remaining two bits, that is bit 14 and 15. Okay, so the first 14 bits indicate the number of DMA cycles, and the next two bits will indicate the type of DMA operation. Okay, so if the device wants to write data into the memory, the DMA operation is called what? DMA write operation. And for this DMA write operation, bit 14 of the register, in case we say 2 1, and bit 15 will be 0. Okay, that means what? If it is 1 0, if it is 1 0, it indicates what? DMA write operation. DMA write operation. Okay, so DMA write operation, DMA read operation, memory read operation, memory write operation. Okay, so depending upon the configuration of 14 and 15 bits, you'll understand the type of operation. Okay, so that is indicated in the table here, lower down the order. I'll show you that. Just a minute. So this is the thing here. If bit 14 and bit 15 are 0, those two indicate verify DMA cycle. Verify DMA cycle. Okay? And if it is 0 1, if it is 0 1, write DMA cycle. Just now we saw this. And if it is 1 0, read DMA cycle. And if it is 1 1, it is illegal. Okay, so that is about the terminal count register. Okay, so we have two more registers to be discussed. One is mode set register, and the next one is what you can say, status register. Okay, so these two registers we'll discuss in the what you can say, next class. Okay, so hope the things are clear to you. If there is any doubt now, you can ask me. Just get unmuted yourself and ask me your doubts.